Hello, and thanks for joining us while we do this quick demo of TestQuality, and we'll run through the different areas of the product. In the Overview tab here, for your quick assessment of your testing efforts, filter by date or milestone, a quick list of the test executions in that period, and any defects logged. The graph showing a number of tests in their different statuses, and you can also change the status that you want to see in that graph. In the Tests tab, where you can create all your tests and add them to folders, and we'll do that in a minute. We have the concept of creating a cycle, which is kind of a repeatable test. So you have the option of either creating an ad hoc test run or something like maybe a regression or smoke test, anything you want. Maybe it's a test for a particular release. And then we have some analysis. And so we'll get into execution and analysis after. So if I wanted to create a simple test, like login, and here I can put some preconditions, if there are some, or in this case, I could say enter username. I mean, this is kind of a simple example. Maybe I want to add it to a folder. So let me create one here. And then I can just simply put it in the folder. Maybe I want to add another test. So once we've created tests, there's additional metadata that you can put onto them. So you can organize them by priority or by functionality. You can assign them ahead of time to people. So whenever you create a run, it automatically gets assigned. You can actually add the test to multiple folders. So you can repeat the test in different places if need be. And then you can add labels to it. And here we have an example of a couple of custom fields. So you can create different fields, whether it be string input, numbers or dates. And then, of course, you can add additional attachments and look at the activity that's happened on a particular test. So here, I'm just going to create my first cycle. Let's just call it smoke test. Yeah, definitely. Copying and pasting images. Let's just do that. So just make a screenshot here. So let's copy that. There we go. So the screenshot's in there. So what I'm going to do is add these to the cycle. It's pretty easy to add and remove a test from a cycle. You can also do things like do some assignment. I'll do that later. There's additional items here that you can put on the cycle. Here I've created a custom property to define the team that I want the cycle to belong to. You can get a history of the runs and defects. So let's run this cycle. I can choose a milestone if I want to assign this to a particular milestone. And then when I get into the run, I might want to assign it. So in this case, I'm going to assign it to myself. When When you assign it, you get an indicator telling you which things are assigned to you, and you can easily click on that and it'll filter, create particular filters for you for you to use. Just refresh. You also get an indicator on the run that you have a to-do. So it's pretty easy to see that you also get it in the project as well. So if you're looking at the list of projects, you can quickly see which are the ones that you have to-do items on. I'm going to go ahead and test this. Make it a little bigger. So pass, fail. Here again, you can add attachments, anything you want. In this case, I'm going to take you through logging a bug. So you can either attach to an existing issue, or you can create a new one. And so this search will allow you to search the issues. But in this case, I'll just... Here, I'll just link to an existing one. Now that defect is linked here, you can go into this and make changes. It'll be reflected in GitHub. So I can go to GitHub for this existing issue, and I can see what's been linked. And so you can see this run was linked out of the smoke. I can say hi. And you can see that the comment is reflected here. And I can do the same thing back. And it's getting reflected in GitHub. We can also add a couple of tags and things. So things like, well, you know what it means to close something. But I can change priority. And the priority changes here. So here I can complete the run. Once I've completed a run, it shows up, and it'll show up completed and non-completed work here. So you can see I created a defect. We had a pass failure. It's a pretty simple example. Here's the test that we've linked. There's the defect we've linked, and we can do some further analysis here. So here we're just showing growth. What did we add recently based on time or milestone? Quality is kind of looking at your tests to give you, some insight. So we have a bunch of different insights. Particularly, we look at things like tests that were failed, that you attached a defect to. If that defect was resolved, then we think that's a very important test. And so we indicate that as a good test, and it may be a test that you can rely on because they failed before, and now that they pass, becomes a good test, rather than that maybe one that you want to take further investigation on, like any tests that never get run or tests that don't fail over a very long period of time. Those are all the tests that you may want to evaluate. And then we also do some flaky analysis. Obviously we haven't run enough tests here, but flakiness is a test that it constantly flips from pass to fail, pass to fail, pass to fail. It's another indicator that you may want to look at that test to see if there is something that you can do to make that test more reliable. And then requirements is simply taking the issues in GitHub and mapping those to tests. And when you do that, it gives you an idea of which issues in GitHub you have tests for. And that in our world, we kind of see that as a way of covering, your feature functionality, if in the issues themselves you define your stories. Absolutely, yes. It's the same idea as the defect. So if you go to requirements, add a requirement, you can link to an existing. And now I can see, the requirement there. I haven't gone into a lot of details here. I mean, these are the basics of the product. One of the things, one of the concepts you'll see here is that you can reuse your tests in different cycles. So if I add another cycle, regression, I can take these same tests or a subset of those tests and add them to the cycle if I want to. Then I can create a new run. And, I have that there. So something else that you can take advantage of a little bit, that's a little bit more complex, is you can add a configuration. So maybe you can also add your own custom configurations, obviously. We've got some older ones in here. Once you've added your configurations, you'll see that you have a couple of configurations here. And essentially what that means is you'll kind of see them here. So in this case, maybe I'm passing and failing. And so I can kind of get a sense for the different configurations. So in this case, I'll say this one, that's fine. And I can quickly see, how many of my different configurations are progressing. Let's see, you get some notifications here. You can get some watches. The concept of watching is as if I wanted to watch a particular test or particular cycle or even project. I'll get notifications when things fail, and that's really what a watch is all. And that's really what a watch is about. You can also customize roles if you want to. You'll use existing roles. You can customize those roles based on project as well. Yep, absolutely. Importing. So let's say I'll take this test. I'll use the command. And I'm just going to export to CSV. So this is just a simple CSV. You can see it's giving me the folder that I was in. So what I'm just going to do, just for this, I don't really care about the test key. It would be ignored anyway. Let's say we change a few things. So I'm going to import from a CSV file. In this case, I can click it. Here it's mapping the different properties to our different properties. And you can even customize the different properties as they map into the lookup information. You can also have attachments, so file attachments and screenshots can get uploaded with this. So I'm going to go ahead and select our project. I'm not necessarily interested in uploading to a particular cycle at this point. There we go. So you can see it successfully added them, and here's the test we imported. At which point I can move this to a folder, or I can import it as a part of a folder if I wanted to, as you saw in that example. So you can also create steps. To give an example, let's call this test 2. So here in this case, it doesn't know exactly what this is. So I'm just going to call test case name. And when you've set up your mappings in the way that you want it to work, you can save the configuration. And it just creates this conf file. And then you can just load that up. Obviously the JSON's a little bit, it's not very pretty, but it's just a text file. And the next time you import tests, you can use that config file and load it up. So you can see it's remembering the mapping that we created when we loaded it back. So yes, yeah, absolutely, saving filters. So if you click on a filter, you'll see the option to save it. So I can save it as my filter. You can also share it, and that means other people will see that filter. So if I close the filter, and then if I come back in again, I can choose my filter again. And so you can definitely save and share filters, in the cycle, the tests, and the runs. We have a couple of features coming out soon where you can add labels to folders as well and filter on those labels. It's kind of useful. And then another thing that's often pretty useful is, so for example, maybe I'm already passing a test. So maybe I'm already passing this test, and I want to put some value in here. Maybe it's a comment on something that I noticed while I was passing the test, but the test still passed. So it's sometimes useful to filter by, any test that actually has a comment. So even if you're passing the test, maybe you want to look at, what has been indicated within the content. That's a kind of quick and easy filter to get this. And that's it really for today. Please do feel free to reach out to us on testquality.com. You can join us on our Slack channel, or feel free to check out our other videos on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much.